We continue now at the top of Daf Chav Beis Amud Beis Maseches Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 22b. On the previous Amud, Rav Yehuda said to Rav Yitzchak, his son, that a person only finds calmness of spirit from his wife in the times of his youth. And this is the end of the pasuk Nurecha. Again, the pasuk is talking about Eshes Nurecha, the wife of your youth. Amar lo, so he said back to him, meaning Rav Yitzchak, the son, said back to Rav Yehuda, the father, Kagon man, for example, who are you referring to? What kind of wife? Amar lo, he said to him, Kagon imech, like your mother. That's what I'm referring to. But the Gemara says, Ini, is that really true? V'hamakri le Rav Yehuda le Rav Yitzchak berei, but Rav Yehuda, he taught Rav Yitzchak, his son, the following. Umotzi ani mar mimoves eso isha asher mitzudim v'charam. I find that the woman is more bitter than death. She's full of traps. V'yamar lo, and then he said to him, he said to his father, Kagon man, who are you referring to? V'yamar le, and he said to him, Kagon imach, I'm referring to your mother. And the Gemara answers, Miskaf sekifa ivure ma'avra b'mila. Originally, she's harsh. Originally, she gets angry, but then she's ma'averes al midoseh. She's able to overcome her midos, as Rashi says, Ivure ma'avra b'mila, ma'averes al midoseh. Again, she can overcome her inclinations. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Shmuel bar Unya mishmei derav. Rav Shmuel bar Unya says in the name of Rav, Isha golam here, a woman, she's like raw material, ve'ena koreses bris, she only makes a covenant, el lamisha asa kli, only to the person who makes her into a vessel. And Rashi explains, Golam hi kodem shenivala, means to say that she's like raw material before she has relations, and again she's koreses bris, to the person who has relations with her, to the person who makes her into a vessel, so to speak. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Kivo alayach osayach Hashem tzavakos shemo, and again the Gemara is understanding the pasuk to refer to this idea. And the Gemara continues, Tanit was taught, Ein ish meis ela leishto, vein isha meisa ela lebala. When a man dies, the primary grief is for his wife, and when a woman dies, that's for her husband. That's the primary person who grieves. Ein ish meis ela leishto, a man dies, and again it's primarily towards his wife that there's the grief. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Vayomes Elimelech ish Naami, it says that Elimelech died, and he was ish Naami, it refers to Naami. Vein isha meisa ela lebala, and again a wife dies, primarily the grief is upon her husband. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Va'ani bevoi mipadon mesa alai Rachel. Yaakov says Rachel died. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Ein roanoso v'chuli, you're not allowed to look at a king while he's getting a haircut. Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Melech mistaper b'chol yom, a king, he gets a haircut every day. Kohen Gadol meir of Shabbos, ler of Shabbos, a Kohen Gadol every week. Kohen Hedyot, an irregular Kohen, echad l'shloshim yom, he gets a haircut every 30 days. Melech mistaper b'chol yom, a king gets a haircut every day. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Melech b'yofyav techzena yinecha, you should look upon a king that he should look good. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Kohen Gadol meir of Shabbos, a Kohen Gadol, he cuts his hair every week. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Nachman, Amar Rav Yochanan. Rav Shmuel bar Nachman says that Rav Yochanan says, Hoel umishmaros mischadsho, since there's a new mishmar every week, so the Kohen Gadol gets a haircut every week. And the Gemara continues, Kohen Hedyot echad l'shloshim yom, a Kohen Hedyot, he cuts his hair once every 30 days. Dechsib, because it's written in the pasuk, this is a pasuk in Sefer Yechezkel, the pasuk says, V'rosham lo yigalechu, fer lo yishlachu, kasam yichsemu es rashayim. It says they shouldn't shave their heads, but they shouldn't grow their hair too long, rather they should trim their hair. That's talking about by Kohanim. V'yolef pera minazir, and we learn out, it says pera over there in that pasuk, and we learn out from Nazir, it says pera by Nazir as well, ksiv hacha pera lo yishlachu. It says again over here, Pera lo yishlechu by Kohanim, Uchsiv Hasam, and it says over there, Gadel Pera Sa'arosho by a Nazir, it says that it grows out his hair. Malahalon Shloshim, just like by a Nazir, we say that he grows out his hair for 30 days. Stam Nazirus is 30 days. Afkan Shloshim, so too over here, by the haircut for a regular Kohen, it's once every 30 days. Utanan Nami, and we learned in the Mishnah as well, this is a Mishnah Maseches Nazir, Stam Nazirus Shloshim Yom, that a Stam Nazirus, if there's no set amount of time that the Nazir takes upon himself, we assume it to be a 30-day Nazirus. And the Gemara continues, V'hasa minolan, and there from where do we know 30 days? Amar of Masna says, the Yamar Krak, as the pasuk says, again by Nazir, Kodesh Yiyah, it says Kodesh Yiyah, B'gematria Tlas and Havit, the Gematria of Yiyah is 30, and that's how we know that Stam Nazirus is Shloshim Yom. And the Gemara continues, Amar le Rav Papa li Abaye, Rav Papa said to Abaye, Ema lo lir buklal. Maybe we should say that the pasuk in Yechezkel, when it talks about the fact that the Kohanim, they're supposed to not grow out their hair long, maybe they shouldn't grow it at all. Maybe we should say that they should be shaving their hair all the time. Amar Lei said to him, Iksiv lo yishlechu pera kedekamer. If it said lo yishlechu pera, that would mean no growth at all. But hashdu dechsivu pera lahave shluchei lelishlechu. But now that it says upera, what it means to say is pera lahave, but shluchei lelishlechu means they should grow it out a little bit, but they shouldn't grow it out a lot. That's the idea that they should just trim their hair once every 30 days. The Gemara continues, if so, ha'idna nami, if you're going to say that it's essentially learned out from psukim in terms of the Kohanim getting their haircuts, so the same halacha should apply nowadays. They should have to get a haircut every 30 days. And the Gemara answers to that, dumya diyayin. We compare the idea of them getting a haircut once every 30 days, we compare that to the fact that they're not allowed to drink wine, which is talking specifically about being drunk when you enter the Beis HaMikdash. Ma'yayin bizman biyah hu da'aser, shelo bizman biyah shari. Just like when it comes to wine, it's only prohibited bizman biyah at the time that they actually enter the Beis HaMikdash, but shelo bizman biyah, when they don't enter the Beis HaMikdash, it's permitted. Af peruei rosh, so too when it comes to haircuts, bizman biyah aser, at the time that they're entering the Beis HaMikdash, that's when it's prohibited. That's when they need to get a haircut every 30 days. But shelo bizman biyah shari, but if it's not a time they're entering the Beis HaMikdash, if there is no Beis HaMikdash, so then it is permitted. And the Gemara continues, v'yayin shelo bizman biyah shari, but the idea that we're saying that wine, if it's not a time of entering the Beis HaMikdash, it's permitted for Kohanim to drink wine, is that really true that it's permitted? V'atanya, but we learned in a Brisa, Rebbe says, Omer ani I say, Kohanim asurin lishtos yayin liolam. I say that Kohanim, it's prohibited for them to drink wine forever, even if there's no Beis HaMikdash, it is forbidden. Avol ma'asa, but what can I do? Shetakanoso kilkalto, because the solution for them, the benefit for them, is because of the destruction. Meaning, once there was a destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, so the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash caused a certain amount of confusion in the world, and that ended up being sort of a takana for Kohanim, because now that it ends up that they do drink wine. And the Gemara continues, V'yamar Abaye, and Abaye says on this, Kaman shasi kahani chamra ho'idna. Nowadays, who are we following when Kohanim drink wine nowadays? Rebbe, that's following Rebbe, because Rebbe said, strictly speaking, Kohanim should have been prohibited to drink wine forever, but ma'esa, it's not the case. The case actually is that it is permitted when there's no Beis HaMikdash. And we can understand from what Abaye said, Michlal, that implies the Rabbanan Asri, that the Rabbanan would actually say, it's prohibited nowadays for them to drink wine, even when there is no Beis HaMikdash. So what do we mean to say over here that yayin shelo bizman biyah shari? That's only true according to Rebbe, but according to the Rabbanan, it would seem to be prohibited even nowadays. And the Gemara says, Hasam over there, Hainu time, and the reason is as follows. Meheiro yibana Beis HaMikdash, because speedily in our times, the Beis HaMikdash will be built. Uva'inon kohen haroi la'avod, and you're going to need to have Kohanim who are able to serve in the Beis HaMikdash. And if they're drinking wine, Veleka, you won't have that, and that's why even nowadays, that's why the Rabbanan would say that you can't drink wine even nowadays, but that would not apply when it comes to haircuts. But the Gemara continues, why should that not apply to haircuts? Hachanami here also when it comes to haircuts. But ina kohen haroi lavo, the veleka, don't we need the kohen to be fit to serve in the Beis HaMikdash? If he's going to grow out his hair, if his hair is too long and the Beis HaMikdash is rebuilt, he won't be able to serve. And the Gemara says to that, Hach over here, when it comes to haircuts, efshar de mesaper v'ayil. If the Beis HaMikdash is rebuilt, he can go get a haircut, and then he'll be able to enter the Beis HaMikdash. But the Gemara says, Hasam nami, but then if that's the case, there also when a person drinks wine, isn't it possible, efshar denayim por savayil, can't he just take a little nap, sleep a little, and then that will make the effects of the wine wear off, and then he can go into the Beis HaMikdash? Diamar Rav Acha, because Rav Acha said, derech meal v'sheina kol shu, if a person walks a meal, or if a person sleeps a little bit, mefigen es hayayin, so that undoes the effects of the wine. And so therefore it's the same thing by haircut as it is by wine. You can easily undo the effect. But the Gemara says that's not true. V'la vitmar Allah wasn't stated on that. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba bar Avua, that Rav Nachman said, that Rabba bar Avua said, Lo shanu el shashasa kedei revius. That's only true if a person drank up to a revius of wine. Then we say a little bit of sleeping, a little bit of walking can take away the effects. Avol yos or michdei revius, but if the person drank more than a revius of wine, kol shekain de derech tordaso v'sheina mishakarto. Certainly the more the person walks, it actually makes the situation worse. The more the person sleeps, he actually becomes more intoxicated. It's not going to be beneficial. And the Gemara continues, Rav Ashi says, Shesuya Yayin, the difference between drinking wine and getting a haircut is that Shesuya Yayin, those who drink wine, Demachli Avoda, that's already considered to be like a desecration of the service in the Beis HaMikdash. So there, Gazrubu Rabbanan, there the Rabbanan were more strict, and they said even when there's no Beis HaMikdash, it would be prohibited. But Perue Rosh, when it comes to getting a haircut, growing a person's hair long, Delo Machli Avoda, there if a person would serve with long hair, it wouldn't be a desecration of the Avoda avodah in the Beis Hamikdash, so lo gazru b'hu rabbanon, the rabbanon did not make a gezerah, and therefore it does not apply when there is no Beis Hamikdash. And the Gemara continues, Meisve, we have a question on Rav Ashi from the following Brisa. The Brisa says, Ve'elu shebemisa, the following, the punishment is misa b'dei shamayim, death by heaven, Pruei rosh u'shasuye yayin. If a person serves in the Beis HaMikdash, Pruei rosh, a Kohen serves and he has long hair, or shasuye yayin, a person serves and he is drunk, so the punishment there again is misa b'dei shamayim. And the Gemara says, Bishlam shasuye yayin. Now I understand shasuye yayin, that we say the punishment is misa b'dei shamayim, because it's written in the pasuk, Yayin v'shecher al teish ta'tov it says you shouldn't die, don't drink the wine and you shouldn't die. It implies a punishment of misa b'dei shamayim. Elaprui rosh, but if a person has long hair and serves midnolan, from where do we know that the punishment is misa b'dei shamayim? And the Gemara says to that, the iskish shesuya yayin lefrui rosh, because there's a comparison of shesuya yayin and prui rosh, because ksib, because it's written v'rosham lo yigalechu upera lo yishalechu v'yayin lo yishtu. That's in Yechezkel. It says right after talking about the haircuts, it says that they shouldn't drink wine, and so we make a comparison. Ma shasuya yayin b'misa, just like shasuya yayin, they have the punishment of misa b'dei shamayim. Af perui rosh b'misa. So too, if they grow out their hair long, it's misa b'dei shamayim. And so now here's the question on Rav Ashi umina. Once we're learning that, from that we can say ma shasuya yayin demachli avoda, just like shasuya yayin, that's considered a desecration of the service in the Beis Hamikdash if they serve in that state. Af perui rosh demachli avoda. So too we should say by perui rosh, if they serve with long hair, that's a desecration of the avoda, unlike what Rav Ashi said. And the Gemara says to that kasha, the Gemara leaves that as a difficulty. And the Gemara continues, Amar le Ravina le Rav Ashi. Ravina said to Rav Ashi, Hay ada de lo asi Yechezkel man amra. This halacha that we say that Pruei Rosh that serve in the Beis Hamikdash is misa b'dei shamayim, before Yechezkel came along, who said it? We're learning it out from a comparison in the pasuk to Shasuya Yayin, but that pasuk is in Sefer Yechezkel. You can't learn out halachas from Sefer Yechezkel. And the Gemara responds, V'lataymech, but according to your reasoning, Hadamar Rav Chisda, that which Rav Chisda said, Davar zemi Toras Moshe Rabbeinu lo lamadnu, this matter from Toras Moshe Rabbeinu, we didn't learn it. Until Yechezkel came along and taught us the following. It says in Sefer Yechezkel, Kol ben necher erel leiv erel basar lo yavo el mikdashi l'sharseni. Anybody who is alien should not come to the Beis HaMikdash in order to serve me. So you can ask the same question. Ad lo ba Yechezkel man amra, before Yechezkel came along, who said that halacha? Ella, rather you have to say Gemara Gemirila. Obviously it's a tradition that we have. V'yasa Yechezkel v'yasmecha kra. Now Yechezkel comes along and puts that tradition down in a pasuk. So hachanami. So here also, when it comes to this halacha of Pruei Rosh by misa b'dei shamayim, Gemara Gemirila, it's actually a tradition. V'yasa Yechezkel v'yasmecha kra. And then Yechezkel comes along and he leans that tradition upon a pasuk. And we will take a look at Rashi with regards to the halacha from Sefer Yechezkel of Kol ben Nechor. Rashi says, Hadamar Rav Chisda bizvachim beperek sheni, davar zed de kohen erel pasel la'avoda. Rav Chisda says in Zvachim in the second parak, this idea that a Kohen Erel is disqualified for the Avoda, it's learned from the pasuk of Kol ben Nechor. Again in the pasuk it said Erel leiv Erel basar, and Rashi explains the two ideas. Kohen shenisnachru maisav la'aviv shebashamayim v'nerel libo. The first Kohen is the Kohen whose actions are foreign to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's called Nerel leiv. That's Nerel libo. Oh, Erel basar. What's Erel basar? Shemesu ach echav machmas mila. Let's say his brothers died when they got a bris milah, so he couldn't get a bris milah, so he's considered to be again Erel basar. He can't get a bris milah. That's what it says in Sefer Yechezkel, Lo yavo el mikdashi l'sharseni. Such kohanim, they're considered ben nechar. They're considered to be alien. They can't come to the Beis Hamikdash to serve me. And the Gemara continues, My custom yichsim wes rasheim. What does it mean when it says in Sefer Yechezkel that the kohanim should trim the hair of their heads? And the Gemara says Tana was taught kamin tispores lolianis. It's like the haircuts of lolianis. And the Gemara says my tispores lolianis. What kind of haircuts is tispores lolianis? Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda says that Shmuel says tisporta yechida. It's a unique haircut. Hey chidami, what exactly is it? Amar Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says rosho shel zeh, the top of one hair bitzadi karo shel zeh, is at the side of the root of the next hair. And the Gemara continues, Shalu es Rebbe. They asked Rebbe, Ezu tispores shel Kohen Gadol. What does the haircut of the Kohen Gadol look like? Amar Leni said to them, Tzu'u re'umi tispores shel Ben Elasa. Go and look at the haircut of Ben Elasa. Ben Elasa was the son-in-law of Rebbe. Rashi explains, Ben Elasa chasano shel Rebbe. That refers to the son-in-law of Rebbe Haya. V'nasan mamon v'limdulo sataspores. He gave money, he paid money, and they taught him this particular kind of haircut. So he said, go and see the tispores shel Ben Elasa, and you'll see what the haircut of the Kohen Gadol is. And the Gemara continues, Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Rebbe Yomer, Rebbe says, Lo al chinam pizer ben Elosas ma'osav. It wasn't for nothing that Ben Elosas spent his money to get this kind of haircut, El kadei laharos bo, to spora shel Kohen Gadol. He wanted to demonstrate, through getting his haircut, he wanted to demonstrate the haircut of the Kohen Gadol. Hadron Aloch Kohen Gadol. We will return to you, Perek Kohen Gadol. This is the end of the second Perek of Maseches Sanhedrin. If you're enjoying these videos and this channel, please like, share, and subscribe, and take a look at the description box below to see how you can support this channel. And we will begin the third Perek of Maseches Sanhedrin on Daf Chaf Gimel Amud Aleph in the next video.